Hello, Pastor Pushie. It's so
Hello,
good to
Pastor
see
Mona.
you. Listen, you would actually be here right now if we were
I
not
know.
in a pandemic. But it's so good that we can have you here online. That's the
Thank you
power of
so much.
technology.
Yes, you look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I have to keep up with you because you
Oh,
travel the world.
absolutely not. I need to change.
So, how's it going in South Africa?
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all in the same storm, but obviously in different boats. So
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you're sitting,
Yes.
but for me, it's okay. I'm a homebody anyway.
Mm-hmm.
People joke that I've been quarantined before the quarantine. So
Are your children, are they home as well?
yes, I
Okay.
have two kids and they're both with me, so I'm at peace.
You're at peace. So
Yeah.
in this situation that we have found ourselves in, what are some bits of wisdom that you would give wisdom women in this time?
I think the most important thing right now, to be honest with you, is your mental health.
Yes.
When the whole thing started, we were told there will be a 21-day lockdown.
Yes.
And so in 21 days, you could be motivated to develop a new skill. They say it takes 21 days to develop a new habit or to break an old habit. So the temptation is within 21 days, I can either learn something new, become a better person, work on my character, lose weight,
Mm-hmm.
exercise. I can commit to something for 21 days. But when it's prolonged indefinitely and you don't know how long it's going to be, then my 5-year plan is to survive this year. That's all it is. Not to
Mm.
put any pressure on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to take care of yourself and to pace yourself and just keep your mind right because the battle is always in the mind.
Yes.
You know, keep your mind right. I mean, it's it's mental health awareness month, it's Mother's Day, it's all kinds of things, and we have so much going on. People will think you're on vacation because you're sitting at home, but
Mm-hmm.
no, we've got kids, we've got lives, we've got
Yes.
cooking, we've got laundry, we've got,
Everything still
on
goes
top of
on.
everything,
Yes.
learning a new normal,
Right.
Zoom,
Yes. Yes.
Instagram Live. There's a lot going on. So I think at this stage for women, don't put any pressure on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, the race is not to the swift.
Yes.
Sometimes all you have to do is just stand still. Having done all to stand, just
Just
stand.
stand.
And, just trust God, feed your faith, I always say, and starve your fears.
That's a
Because
good,
whichever one you feed is going to grow.
yes, that's a good word. I know in this season, when everything first started, the scripture that really has helped me has to do with mental health, which is when David in Psalm 42, when he says, why is thou cast down, O my soul? Put not your hope in God. And that has been the thing that has sustained me in this season to understand that my soul will feel cast down at times, but I need to put my hope, my faith, and my trust in God. And then he goes on to say, I love this part when he says, make a list of all of the things that God has done for you. And when you start to make a list of what God has done for you, my goodness, you could go on forever. In the part of the country that you're in, what are some of the things that you're facing over there for people, to be aware of in the States?
Well, okay, I'm in Johannesburg,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very diverse. The demographics are very diverse. The racial diversity, the economic
Mm.
diversity. So, they say stay at home,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm a big advocate of because the virus can't move. Only people can move the virus.
Yes.
But stay at home for a person who lives in a luxurious home is not so challenging. And also, we have a lot of house help in South Africa.
Mm.
So you have somebody working in your home, you have domestic help. And some people have their domestic help, which has stayed quarantined with them. which is who's still doing their laundry, still cleaning, and still doing the cooking and things like that for them. And then the other extreme are people who live in quite extreme poverty, where staying at home means they're in a one-room place and they're cramped and they're crowded and there's not enough space for everybody. They don't know where their next meal will come from. They live day to day, not paycheck to paycheck. They depend on going outside to maybe sell some peanuts or sweets on the street to passers-by so that they can actually eat that day. So it is very diverse depending on your economic demographic.
And what is Christianity like there, Pastor Pushie? Like,
it's predominantly a Christian country, and church is a big thing every Sunday. Whether it's just out of habit or desire, but we have huge churches. Our church is a 7,000 seater. And we used to have 5 services on a Sunday. We now have 3, but we still have 7,000 seats, and then we have an overflow of another 1,500 seats. So it's quite huge. And church is a big part of the culture. On Sunday, families go to church. So I think it's been difficult for people not being able to go to church on a Sunday. And a lot of the people are not really into technology. The youth and the young people, yes, because they were born into technology. But the older people barely know how to use. They don't even have an Instagram account, They barely know how to go live or to go onto the internet unless they have younger people. I mean, I had my daughter set this up with all her complaining. I was like, you are going to be in the room present in case anything goes wrong because, Wi-Fi does this and they know the Wi-Fi password. So many things. And at my age, I still need a lot of assistance, but for older people, they've never streamed. They've never logged into any online conference. Easter was a big problem because they actually travel during Easter. They actually do a pilgrimage, a migration where they go to certain locations and everybody gathers together. And they couldn't understand why they cannot meet with people in Easter. It's almost like your Thanksgiving, So it's been very hard for them, but I think the church has to be proactive.
Yes.
Restaurants are devising ways how you can do takeaways only or deliveries only. The church also, besides just us going online, I feel we can still do social distancing. If Walmart can do social distancing and say, you have to have a mask to get in here, and there's, certain demarcations in CVS, you have to stand a meter away or 2 meters away behind the next person. We can do the same thing in a 7,000 seater. You can close every other row.
Yes.
Remove every third seat. Just close every third seat. Spray people as they enter. Spray them as they leave. So the world isn't going to think for us.
Right.
We have to come up with a social distance compliant plan and say, this is what we present, to governments, to officials, and say, this is how we will make our church environment COVID-19 approved. This is how we can make our space safe. Even if it's 100-seater church, take our 50 chairs.
Right.
We can still be social distance, and nobody wants to get ill. So I think, this is something we really need to think about as the church globally, how we can accommodate people even in a situation like this and still be safe.
Yes. So you sound like a woman who is very progressive, moving with the times, and God is speaking to. What has it been like for you and doing ministry at this time?
Well, I mean, to confess, I really love being at home. I think I have a tad bit of social anxiety. I'm not an introvert, but I found myself in a place where I prefer to be at home than in public. And I began to wonder where this started, where it originated from, because I clearly was not an introvert as a child. And I was speaking to another friend who's an actress, and she's also married to a public figure. And I said, I actually am glad that I don't have to make an excuse of why I don't want to be out in public. And she said, me too. And then it clicked. I realized that people who have high profiles in their environment, in their society, have a little bit of a social discomfort, because it's almost like you live a microscopic life where everybody's looking on the outside in because people know you. So just going to get bread and milk gives you a little bit more anxiety than the average person.
Right.
You're not anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
So being at home is a really welcome breather for me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a lot of pressure standing up on a pulpit,
Mm-hmm.
getting onto a stage. My gift makes room for me, but I'm almost inclined sometimes to decline, just because of it's not normal for me. It's not natural for me to be among so many people all the time. Although
Right.
it's easier to be away from the crowd on the stage, no matter how many thousands there are, than to be in an intimate setting. So doing ministry from home is actually easy for me, easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
Than being in a public setting. And I have to remind myself that this is not going to last forever, and I will have to be out again, which I know is very unusual for a public speaker, but that's exactly the way that I am. So doing ministry from home is so easy for me, especially when it's radio. Until they're like, we're going live on Instagram at 8 a.m. I'm like, no, Pastor Pushie is not available. I do not feel like waking up during quarantine at 8 a.m. and putting my face together. If we can make a little bit later when I've got my mind together and I've got the mental strength, or over the phone, yeah, sure.
So you started out by saying that, reminding everyone that this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it sounds like you're using this time as almost like a be still moment, and communing with the Father and just having your tank filled. How often do you travel, throughout the year, and when do you find those moments, aside from being in quarantine?
Normally, it's at maybe every other weekend. I try to balance it. So I am with our local church. I got born again there in 1995. I went to Bible school. I volunteered. I served. I was head of women's ministry. So I make myself available to our local church at least once a month.
Okay.
And then outside of that, I have invites to either locally within Johannesburg area, or outside, or internationally. But internationally, I try to keep it to about 3 or 4 a year. And then locally, maybe every other weekend, I might fly. But I love flying. I love the traveling. I love being in a different place, feeling a sense of anonymity, going through the airports. This is the biggest challenge for me in this season, is not getting onto a plane.
Yes.
Checking into the hotel, I love all of it. Yeah, so maybe about twice a month I fly out.
Okay. Now, what can you give the women a charge? You were supposed to speak here in May, and you were coming and you were prepared to be with our women for the Dash Rebirth Conference. So I know you had something prepared for us. Could you give us a snippet of, something that will encourage the women, as we in Massachusetts, we are coming or scheduled to come out of the quarantine May 18th. How should women emerge from this? You talked about the 21 days of creating a new habit. What would be the thing that you would say to kind of give them the push as we get ready to open the doors and really come out of our homes?
Be gentle on yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's never going to be exactly the same as it was. Allow yourself to evolve, allow yourself to grow, and allow yourself to change, to be different. You can have better days, you can have good days, you can have bad days. You don't have to force yourself to be anything. And I think after this situation, it's so important to be true to yourself. Because as we've seen, tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Yes.
as we've seen, anything can happen at any time. So we are confident because we know that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. We know where we stand. We know where we stand in eternity. But where do you stand now? Where are you now? Who are you today? What is your truth? Who were you created to be? What is your essence? What is your purpose? What is your calling? What would you do and what would you ask God for if you knew the answer would be yes? This is the time for you to have a go, take a risk, go for it because God is backing you. God is on your side. So take a chance to be who you would love to be. Don't live, this might be a bit controversial, but don't live for people. There's a part in the Bible that says he did not trust in man, for he knew what was in man. Put your trust in God to say, this is who I believe God has called me to be. This is how, a lot of times, maybe it's never been done before because you were supposed to be the first one to do it.
Wow.
So you have to risk being yourself. Regardless of what people will say. I think we live too much as women of our lives in trying to be accepted, trying to conform, trying to put on an image that other people will receive and accept. And, it's time for you to live your truth and be you.
That is a word.
Pastor Mona, tomorrow, nobody is going to you live, you do what you want to do, you die. People will say, oh, sad, that was so sad. She was a great person, whatever, they'll say all nice things. But you can't go to your grave with all of your gifts and all of your talents and all of your dreams buried on the inside of you. Take them out. Take those dreams out, Discover who you really are. Everything. Live your life to the fullest of the way you would have wanted to live your life, regardless of what people say. There's so many things that I did that were never done before. In Africa, we don't have a lot of female preachers. And I clearly do not fit the mold or look. Nobody would have chosen me. I wouldn't have chosen myself. God surprised me. So God tricked me. I was serving and volunteering in the church in the TV department because that's my background. And the next thing, here I am preaching. I was like, God, you tricked me. I would never have chosen this. And initially they were like, why don't you, try to talk a bit softer or wear longer skirts or, why don't you wear cowboy boots, like the Australians.
Yes.
Like, but God, you knew exactly who I was when you called me. You still chose me. You knew exactly what type of person I was. And I realized that preaching is truth through personality.
Yes.
When I made the decision to just be myself, everything changed. And when you are free, when you are liberated into being all that God created you to be, that light, it shines and it frees and sets other people free. If you let your light shine, I don't care whether it is you play tennis, play that tennis. Serena, wear that skirt, braid your hair, do it the way you want to do it.
Yes.
And you set a new normal. You set a new trend. Right now, everybody's coming out. Come out the way you need to come out. Come out of quarantine. Be you. The world will adjust.
Well, I love
that. They will talk initially, and they'll get over it, and then they'll begin to adjust to the new you.
Well, you just got right on fire right there. Be you, come out of this thing who God created you to be, and set new norms.
New norms.
New norms. And yes, I appreciate that because, we had to postpone the conference, and it was not even a week and a half ago that God said, you know what, you had to postpone it, but I have a new norm. You'll do the whole thing online. And I was so shocked. I said, well, you know what, God, that's exactly what you said. Now, as the church, we have to do something different. If the stores can do it, we can do it. If Walmart can do it, we can do it. If Target can do it, we can do it. And as women, we can set new norms right now, right where we are, so that when we come out, and it doesn't matter what anybody says. My daughter named this season the incubation season.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like we've been set up in this house, right, for such a time as this, and now we are coming out and we can use the world as our palace and walk into the appointed places that God has for us. So thank you so much, Pastor Pushie. I mean, and it's you have the perfect shirt on for how you ended it. Believe. You have to believe that God appointed you to be in the place that you are in and that you can come out very different and you can come out being who you were created to be. And if you don't want to wear cowboy boots because they're telling you to, it doesn't matter. Wear your stilettos and your red bottoms because I see where you shop. I see your pictures. I know you. There was a pair of shoes you had on. I was about to type in there, what size shoe you wear so you can send me those from Johannesburg. I see you. I see you and your daughter. I see that lifestyle. But listen, you are such an anointed woman of God. When my husband met you in Ghana, he said, you have got to have this woman in Boston. And so, next year, prayerfully, depending on where we are in this, pandemic, we hope to see you in Boston. And really, I can sense the fire of God in you on your clips on Instagram and this time. And I just thank you for saying yes to this few minutes that we have together and to investing in all the women that will listen. And I pray that God would give you 100-fold seed on your sacrifice today. And thank your daughter for helping you get all of this set up. She's so beautiful. Is she coming on? She's so beautiful.
She's like,
no. Well, listen, I've seen her on Instagram. She is a beautiful young lady. Is she coming?
She looks terrible.
Okay.
The teenagers, everything has to be.
Yes, I tell her I understand. I totally get it. So thank you, Pastor Pushie. It's been so great to finally meet you face to face, even though it's through technology. Be blessed. Thank your daughter for setting everything up. And listen, people, everybody needs a...
Matthew,
oh, I sure will.
Family.
I sure will. Thank you so much. What time is it there?
It is now 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock p.m. Okay. All right. Well, have a good evening. Thank you.
You too. Have a good rest of the day and rest of the conference. And God bless you and love to all the ladies that are watching from all over.
Yes. Thank you. Be blessed.